Good morning, everyone. Today I will present a use case with an ETL batch pipeline with Apache Airflow Cloud Composer and with some transformation on the transform part with Dataproc serverless. Previously, I showed a full use case and example with the deployment of a Spark Scala job with Dataproc serverless. This job was launched alone with the full explanation of the code and the transformation with the Spark job. Today, I also wanted to show how to integrate Dataproc serverless with an orchestration tool like Apache Airflow in Google Cloud Platform. I also showed previously some video series with ETL batch pipeline, one with Cloud Run, a second example with Dataflow, and today I replace Dataflow and Cloud Run by Dataproc serverless. And in this schema, at the right side, we have the orchestration tool. It's handled and managed by Apache Airflow here. And in Google Cloud Platform, we have a Cloud Composer that is a managed service that install and host an Apache Airflow for us in Google Cloud Platform. In this ETL batch pipeline, we read an input JSON file from Cloud Storage. It corresponds to the extract part. Then the transform part will be managed by Dataproc serverless, which has the responsibility to apply the business rules and the transformation for our job. And after applied all the needed transformation, we write the result to a BigQuery table. It's the same use case as I presented previously in other videos. At the left side, we have the CI/CD part done with Cloud Build. The Spark job is written with Scala and Spark. And we use also SBT as a build tool in the Scala world and to build the job and then generate a fat jar and copy it in a cloud storage bucket. In the previous dedicated video on Spark Scala job, I explain in details this concept. That's why today I will not go in detail in this part, but to give a little bit an explanation for this part. For the CI/CD part, we have two Cloud Build jobs. One to deploy the Dataproc and the Spark job with Dataproc serverless. We generate a fat jar and then we will copy it in a cloud storage bucket with SBT. Then we have a second Cloud Build job and YAML file that will have the responsibility to deploy the Airflow DAG written in Python, and we take the Airflow DAG and copy it in the cloud storage bucket for all the DAGs, for the Airflow DAGs in Cloud Composer. For the project is hosted in a GitHub repository here, and we can with Cloud Build have some automatic triggers. This project and the Cloud Build target on the project hosted in a GitHub repository. For the simplicity, we will use Cloud Build jobs from our local machine with a gcloud command, and all the commands are put in the README file. Now, at the right side, all the orchestration part with the Apache Airflow and Cloud Composer, and at the left side, the CI/CD part with Cloud Build. For the code, as I explained in the previous video, we have the project here. We also have the configuration, all the configuration for our DAG here with variables.json. As I explained before in other videos, with Apache Airflow, we can configure some elements directly in a JSON file. Then we can copy and install these variables in Apache Airflow. Then in the DAG, we can retrieve this configuration and work with the element as a dict with Python. For the configuration, we have the source bucket to read the input JSON file. We also have the source object, that is the concerned JSON file. At the end of the DAG, we will move the processed file from a hot folder to a cold folder, only for the example. Then we have all the configuration dedicated for the Spark job. We have this node, Timstat job config, and we have a standard configuration for our Spark job with Dataproc serverless. We have, for example, when we deploy the Spark job, we will generate a fat jar and copy it in a cloud storage bucket. We need to give the path of the jar file to the Dataproc serverless job. You also need to pass the path to the main class that contains the entry point of the Spark Scala application. In the args, we give all the job arguments, like the input JSON file to read, and also we give a side input because this use case with Spark will retrieve raw data, then cross data with a slogan per team. That's why we give also a path for a side input file. As I explained in the previous video, I will add the link to this video in this video in order to give the link with the deep explanation for this use case. And at the end, the result is written in a BigQuery table called Timstat. For Dataproc serverless, we also need to give a runtime configuration version, because with Dataproc serverless, we have runtime configuration. Each runtime configuration contains a version of Spark and also a version of Java. For example, we have this link, Dataproc serverless runtime version, and we can go in this link, and we have in the official documentation we have access to all the runtime version for Dataproc serverless jobs. For example, in my case, I used this version, and for this version we have the 3.3.2 Apache Spark version, and also Java 17 for this use case. In the previous video, I explained in detail all these concepts and how to launch a Spark job with Scala and also the Java 11 version. To go again in the code, We also can give some environment configuration to our Spark job. For example, we have the environment config node, and in this case, we created a dedicated service account with the needed privileges to be able to launch the Spark job. I can show this service account, for example. If I duplicate this tab here, I can go in the IAM page, and I created a dedicated service account with the needed privileges to launch the Dataproc serverless job. I gave, for example, the Dataproc worker role, also the Dataproc editor, storage admin here, and also a BigQuery data editor to be able to write the result in the BigQuery output table. As I explained in the previous video, we can also create a custom role with the least privilege principle, because in this case, for the simplicity, I used predefined roles and directly added some predefined roles to my service account. But to be more secure and use the least privilege principle with fine-grained privileges, we can create a custom role and add only the expected permissions in the custom role in order to give only the needed privileges for our service account. Then in this job, we can also, for Spark Dataproc and Dataproc serverless, we can use an history server in order to have some monitoring or access to the Spark UI for our Spark jobs, as I explained in the previous video. And in this case, I have the peripherals config node, and I can give all the configuration for the Spark config and the Dataproc cluster, in this case for history, and to be able to check all the job in the UI, in the Spark UI. In this example, I also give a batch ID. It's the ID for my job, and also the location in Europe West 1. It's okay for the configuration. Then for the code of the Spark job, as I explained in my previous video, I have this folder src, main and Scala, and this folder contains all the Spark Scala code. And for the use case, to show again a little bit the use case, is the same use case as I explained in some videos. We have raw data with TeamStat, the statistics per team. Then for the domain data, we calculate some element like the top scorer, the best passer, and also the total goals per team. And the Spark jobs have, for the transform part, has the responsibility to calculate all these elements and then write the result to a BigQuery table. And as I explained in the previous video, all the Spark logic are put here in this folder. And we have, for example, the main class. We read the JSON file with Spark as a data frame. Then we calculate all the domain data, again in a data set of TeamStat object. And at the end, we write the result to a BigQuery table in append mode and also with a direct mode, as I explained in my previous video. For the mapper, I will not show in detail the code, but the principle is we apply some transformation here from the raw data. We calculate all the domain data, and we cross with the join. We cross the raw data with the slogan per team. Then I go in the DAG part, in the Airflow DAG part. In the same principle as I explained in other videos with Apache Airflow, I have this class settings, and from this class I load my Airflow, configuration for the DAG that I showed previously. This configuration variables .json, and with this syntax I can retrieve all my configuration with the parent node Scala DAG here, and I have access to all my variables in a dict. Then I configure all the needed fields here. I also have access to a predefined environment variable with the GCP project, and here I retrieve the configuration for the Dataproc and Dataproc serverless job, the batch ID, the location, and the input file and input bucket, and also the destination object, because at the end of the DAG we will simulate a move from a hot folder to a cold folder for the processed files. I go then in the code of the DAG. In this case, in Apache Airflow, I have access to a dedicated operator to launch a Dataproc serverless job, because Apache Airflow gives a set of operators for Google Cloud, and we have built-in operators to perform some tasks. And in this example, we can launch a Dataproc serverless job with this operator, Dataproc create batch operator. We imported this operator from the Airflow Google Cloud provider. We passed some default arguments in our DAG, and also detail our Dataproc serverless job need to be unique, and that's why here we generated a suffix, a random suffix here, and we take the batch ID from the configuration, and we had a suffix in order to make this element unique here. For this operator, we pass the task ID with Apache Airflow, the project ID, the location, also all the job configuration. We give all the job configuration to our Dataproc serverless job. The configuration I showed previously here, all this node. We retrieve all this node, and we pass this node to our operator, because this operator uses a standard configuration for the Dataproc serverless REST API. And in this case, we directly passed our configuration as expected in the API and also in the operator, and it's easy then to pass it in our Python configuration and DAG configuration and pass it in the DAG. It's okay for the launch of the Dataproc serverless job with Spark Scala. At the end of the DAG, after treating the file and processed the file, we move the processed file from the hot folder to a cold folder. We have the source object here and also the destination object and bucket, and we move the element. We have this syntax that allows to orchestrate all the tasks with Apache Airflow. In this case, it's very simple because we also have 2 tasks in sequence, and it's easy to perform our task in sequence with this syntax. I think it's good for the demo of the code in Apache Airflow. Then also an important detail here. When I launch the Dataproc serverless from Apache Airflow for the first time in Cloud Composer, I had an issue because there is a quota in Google Cloud with Compute Engine VM instances. Apache Airflow is installed in Cloud Composer cluster that correspond to a GKE cluster, and behind the scene a GKE cluster uses Compute Engine MIG VMs, and by default there is a quota in Google Cloud. Here we go to this page, quota in IAM, and we have access to some quota by default in Google Cloud. We have firstly the quota here prevented me to launch the job as expected from Cloud Composer, because Apache Airflow uses Compute Engine VMs here, and it's also the case for Dataproc serverless. Dataproc serverless create Compute Engine VM on the fly and delete the VMs at the end of the job. And by default, the quota was increased. That's why I wanted to talk about this issue, because if you want to launch Dataproc serverless job in Google Cloud free version, maybe you will have an issue in this case with this quota, and you need to move to a paid version of Google Cloud, and we can ask to increase this quota from this page in Google Cloud Platform. And in this case, I increase the quota in order to launch the job with Dataproc serverless from Apache Airflow and Cloud Composer. To go then in the CI/CD part, as I explained in the schema, we have 2 jobs. One that allows to create the fat jar for the Spark Scala job and deploy this job in the cloud storage bucket. I deployed previously the Dataproc serverless. That's why I will not launch this cloud build job in this video, but I explain again this concept. We have a Docker image from Scala SBT, and with SBT assembly we generate a fat jar. Then we have a second step with cloud build, and with this command line gcloud alpha storage cp, we can deploy the fat jar to the expected cloud storage bucket. Then we have this second cloud build job. I go to my README file to save time, and we will deploy the Airflow DAG and launch the Cloud Build job. I zoom a little bit my shell and go again in the Cloud Build YAML file to give some explanation. This YAML file is the same as I explained in other videos. For Apache Airflow, we need to deploy a setup py file at the root of the cloud storage bucket that contains all the DAGs. We also need to deploy our DAG configurations, as I shown previously here for a variable .json file. And we have this bash script to deploy the DAG folder. Here I have this DAG folder, ETL Spark Scala DAG, and we deploy this folder to the cloud storage bucket dedicated to Cloud Composer. We pass some environment variables here, and it's good. I go again in my shell. It will take few seconds to finish the deployment of the DAG, and we can, to save time, to go to Google Cloud, and I will also empty my table and will launch again my DAG to read the file, apply the transformation, and write the result to this table. For the input file is put in this bucket here, Maslum Dev hot ETL Spark. We also have this menu in Dataproc Serverless, and this menu in the batches menu here, we can access to all the Dataproc Serverless jobs. From our Airflow DAGs, I go to the Airflow web server here, and the deployment, it's not already finished, but we deployed the configuration here for the variable JSONs, and the deployment is finished. We refresh our page here, and we will launch our DAG. We click on this button, Trigger DAG, and then we will access to the running DAG. For the running DAG here, we can see our two tasks here. We have the first task that will launch the Dataproc serverless job with Spark Scala, and we will then move the processed file from hot to a cold folder. In Apache Airflow, we can also access to the log here. The log are accessible here in this menu. We will wait a little bit in order to let Apache Airflow launch the serverless job, wait for the result, and pass it to the second task. In this menu, normally the Dataproc serverless is in a pending status here, and Airflow instantiated the Dataproc serverless job here, and the job will read the data, apply the different transformation, and write the result to a BigQuery table here. It will take few seconds to finish, but the job is not very long in this case. For the job in Dataproc serverless, we can access to all the details for our job. We have, for example, the elapsed time here. The service account, the creator of this job, is created by Cloud Composer, and the service account dedicated for Cloud Composer here. We also have access to the region, the type, the main class for the Scala part, all the argument here, the jar file, and all the properties for the Spark job, because our Spark job is serverless, and there is an auto-scaling used by the job by default. We can also, if needed, we can change these elements if needed in order to have the possibility to more change the configuration for the executor and the driver if needed, and also for the instances with Spark job. But by default, the Spark job is with the serverless approach uses auto-scaling, but we can change the autoscaler proposed by default if needed. I think the job is finished here. We can also have access to the status is succeeded here, and we can also access to some monitoring tab for our Dataproc serverless job. Here we have the Spark executors used to launch this job and treat and finish the processing of this job, and I think it's good here. And as I showed in my previous video, we can also go to check some elements from the Spark UI for Dataproc serverless jobs. Here we have access to the detail, for example in SQL and other element executor, and we can check in details some graph of our Spark job if needed. If I go to my DAG here, normally the Airflow DAG will take the result of the first task and pass to the second task to move the process file from the hot to the cold folder. And it's good, it's finished. Here we can access to the rendered tab, and it's okay for we have the source bucket, the source object, and also the destination object. Here for the rendered, we have all the configuration passed for our Spark job, and I think it's okay. The use case is finished. It was a pleasure to present this use case with you and with the community. We previously showed in detail how to write a Dataproc serverless job. We also written a dedicated article on this topic. Then we wanted to show how to integrate a Dataproc serverless in orchestration tool and orchestration pipeline tool like Apache Airflow, because in the real life, sometimes we need to interact with some services before to launch the transformation. That's why it was important for us to show this use case with the community. Feel free to subscribe to the channel to support our work for the Google Cloud community. It was a pleasure for me, and see you soon. Bye bye.